I just watch? Hi everyone, I'm Luna. Welcome to the Lunarium. Alright, so a little while ago, Netflix changed the way that they do their homepage. So when you first go to the website, at the very top, there's a preview for a show or a movie that just immediately starts playing. I'm not sure if these previews are the same for everyone who goes on Netflix or if they're targeted to people based on their watch history, but regardless, I hate it. Most of the time, the previews are for things that I have no interest in. They're often loud and annoying, and also, the only way that you cannot watch them is if you scroll down. But if on your way down the page, your mouse accidentally hovers over the thumbnail for another Netflix title, a preview for that starts to play. I just want to rewatch She-Ra for the 10th time without being bombarded by other previews. Is that really too much to ask? So the other day, I went on Netflix to grab clips for another video I was planning on making, and of course, a preview just started playing. And this time it was a preview for the 2010 movie Easy A. And I was so horrified by this preview that I decided to watch the movie. I guess the fact that I watched the movie is exactly why Netflix changed their homepage to work this way, but I still don't have to like it, okay? The movie is supposed to be a modern retelling of Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. I say supposed to be because this movie lacks any recognizable commentary on society, moral, or even really a plot. The movie begins with narration from the movie's protagonist, played by Emma Stone, who 100% looks like a teenager.
So, let the record show that I, Olive Pendergast, being of sound mind and below average breast size, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Starting now. And what better way to share my private thoughts than to broadcast them on the internet?
So, our protagonist, Olive, lies about not wanting to spend time with her best friend.
Bree, I cannot go camping with you, okay? I'm sorry, but I have a date. Okay, I told you.
Oh, with who?
You don't know?
Then neither do you selfish bitch.
Yes, I do. He goes to college with my brother.
Okay, what's his name then?
Rhiannon is what you'd call a strong personality. A couple weeks ago, she asked me to come camping with her family, and I don't know why I didn't want to go. A little because I didn't really feel like hanging out with her all weekend.
So right off the bat, here's one of the main problems with the movie. Who is Olive? Who is she as a person? She's one of the most, 2D main characters of a teen movie that I've ever seen. She has only one friend, apparently, who she doesn't even seem to like. But anyway, so Olive, in order to get out of camping with her best friend, lies that she has a date with some guy who goes to college with her brother named George. Then she spends the weekend doing absolutely nothing. And then on Monday, when her friend asks her about her date with George, she then needs to lie again.
Okay, wait. So, are you going to see him again?
No, probably not. Yeah, just one of those weekends.
Whole weekend?
Yep.
Whoa, wait a minute.
What?
You didn't have...
No, of course not.
You liar. You totally lost your V-card to him.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Tell me everything.
Bree, I'm not that kind of girl.
And what kind of girl would that be exactly? See, this is part of the problem with this movie, is you can't make a commentary on how society too easily judges people when you have your main character judging people for the exact same thing. Clearly, Olive thinks that there's something wrong with girls who would have sex on the first date or in high school. I'm not exactly sure what she means by that kind of girl, but either way, there's nothing wrong with having sex if you want to have sex, if you feel that you're ready, if you're safe, there is literally zero wrong with that. But the movie starts with the premise that having sex is wrong.
Tell me. Fine. We did it.
What'd you let him do?
It was normal, you know? Nothing, freaky. I don't know why I did it. I guess maybe it was because it was the first time I had sort of felt superior to Reed.
He was sweet, of course. What the hell are you looking at, Sister Christian? Just a couple of admitted whores.
Oh, Amanda Bynes, is this what you ended up as? As someone who grew up with the Amanda Show, this is just sad. So basically, Amanda Bynes, the Christian girl who serves as a kind of antagonist in the movie, she tells everyone at school that Olive lost her virginity, which for some reason the entire school cares about.
Olive lost her virginity. Maybe next time a certain somebody will be a little more careful what she says in the water closet.
Now, I graduated high school in 2009, which is a year before this movie came out. So I actually have a pretty good idea of what high school around this era was like. And maybe this is just like a super tiny school, but the movie begins with Olive saying that no one knew who she was. So why is everyone talking about this? Like, I really don't think some girl losing her virginity is that interesting that the entire school would care about it and then start whispering about it. This is what I mean by, like, the creators of this movie, just like the very premise insinuates that for a 17-year-old girl to have had sex is something that should be considered scandalous. And that just seems really archaic to me. I don't think that many people would agree that that's the kind of thing that would just be so scandalous, even 10 years ago.
All I could think to myself was, great, now I'm a tramp. I'm gonna have to get a lower back tattoo and pierce something not on my face.
Seriously? Seriously? Like, come on! It's just... Yeah, you had sex with someone one time, supposedly, which obviously means you need to get body piercings and a lower back tattoo. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, the main character clearly thinks the idea that she would have sex, that people would know that she's had sex, is something that she should be ashamed of and should define her forever. This is ridiculous. Besides the fact that a lot of people are, like, talking about you, why does it matter that they think that you've had sex? That shouldn't change how they look at you. That shouldn't change how you look at you. But, of course, the very premise of this movie is that she should feel ashamed by the idea that everyone thinks that she's had sex. Anyway, so then we get a shot of Olive with her family. They have these little comedic moments that I actually think are pretty funny. But also, here's Olive's brother. Remember how she said she went on a date with George, a friend of her brother's from community college? This is the only brother that ever gets mentioned. So are we to believe this child is in community college? Or that she has an older brother who just is never mentioned again? This is just lazy writing. Also, it kind of seems like her younger brother only exists to be there as a funny moment. Ha ha, they adopted a black kid.
Why does that matter? I'm adopted.
What? Oh my God! Who told you? Guys, we were gonna do this at the right time. Listen to me. Sometimes, even when a man and a woman love each other very much, like your mother and I used to, their insides just don't cooperate with each other.
Let's all laugh about the fact that he's clearly adopted. I like the way that this is addressed. That's comedic, that shows that they've clearly talked about it, that, you know, it's not like a big shameful thing in their family. It's good to see that kind of representation in a movie, but this brother really only exists to be a funny moment like that. He has no other purpose in the movie. He has no other interests. You just see him occasionally with the family. So, did they really need to give her a younger black brother? Just to be a punchline? That feels like a questionable choice.
I really didn't mean for the lie to put me on the map, but I gotta admit, I kind of liked being on the map. Ironically, we were studying the Scarlet Letter. Isn't that always the way?
No. I don't think it is always the way.
The books you read in class always seem to have some strong connection with whatever angsty adolescent drama is going on. Except for Huckleberry Finn. Because I don't know any teenage boys who have ever run away with a big hulking black guy.
Okay, again, another completely unnecessary joke about a black person. Who wrote this?
I think Hester Prynne was, excuse my language, a skank.
A skank? Mm-hmm. So you don't think she was a victim at all?
Why should I? She brought it on herself. Perhaps you should embroider a red A on your wardrobe, you abominable tramp.
Perhaps you should get a wardrobe, you abominable twat.
Seriously? Like, in what English class in high school would this conversation actually happen? Also, we're supposed to believe that the English teacher was okay with a high school student dismissing all of the complexities of the novel to Hester Prynne was a tramp, and then for whatever reason, Olive is sent to the principal's office for retorting that a girl who just called her a tramp is a twat. Sorry, I don't understand this at all. Why wouldn't both girls go to the principal's office? Or just the original girl who clearly had nothing to add to the class discussion? This is just not how high school works. This is just not how class works. It just seems like the writers are really intent on making Olive, like, ostracized, that they don't bother to write any of the other characters like real people. The mark of a good storyteller is that even the side characters don't seem two-dimensional. But literally everyone in this movie only seems to exist to complement Olive, either to make her feel more ostracized, to further her own development, or just to round out her life a little bit, like her family. But this is so weird because with all of that, we still don't know who Olive is, other than the fact that she can be a bit sassy and she's felt ignored. What do we know about Olive? She's not a person. She's just like a vessel to carry this bad moral.
Hey, Olive.
Oh, right. So Penn Penn someone, the guy from Gossip Girl and You, is the love interest in this movie. I know I'm a lesbian, but can someone explain to me why he's considered attractive? Let me know in the comments. Olive gets into the principal's office, she goes home, she tells her parents about it.
I got sent to the principal today.
Did you win a medal or something?
Not exactly. I used inappropriate language.
Can someone explain to me what's happening in this scene? In what universe would a family have dinner where some of the family members are eating at the table 2 feet from the counter and some of the family members are eating at the counter? This is so unnatural. I also don't even get it in terms of a shot. Like, you could have the parents standing, which they do, and both kids seated at the table, and they would look like a normal family doing normal human things. But instead, they weirdly put Olive at the counter while her brother is sitting at the table. I really don't know if the creators of this movie have even met humans before.
Where are you from originally?
Excuse me? Seriously, who wrote this? So, as punishment for calling that girl Nina a twat, Olive gets detention, which involves cleaning with a guy who was bullied for being gay. Something that the movie handles in a very respectful and appropriate way.
Do you know that Brandon kid? That's what somebody told him.
Isn't he a homo?
Yeah.
Next, Brandon goes to Olive and asks her to pretend to have had sex with him so that people will stop bullying him for being gay. And Olive eventually agrees, but only on the condition that they simulate having sex at a party.
Oh! Don't stop! I'm not gonna stop! I'm not gonna stop!
Now you try.
I'm gonna turn you around and take you from the back!
Yeah, that's not gonna make people think you're straight.
Yep. It's gay to have sex from the back.
That's what I'm talking about! Yeah! Do you smell that?
Oh!
Do you smell that?
Ew!
Did you just see it smell?
Isn't it supposed to smell?
I don't know, but if it does, you're not supposed to comment on
It
it.
doesn't really smell that bad.
Oh, yeah! You're a stud!
Oh, this is so uncomfortable. I'm so uncomfortable. I don't like it.
Don't stop!
Don't stop! It's too much fun!
You ready for the grand finale? Yeah.
What?
Stop it. Don't.
Yeah, so Olive gets mad because her best friend calls her a slut. So obviously the only thing to do is to buy a bunch of revealing clothes and sew a red A on it. I legitimately don't get a reaction to like everyone thinks I'm a whore is I'm going to dress in revealing clothes and sew an A on it. You know, like the Scarlet Letter. Get it? Get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Are you sure you get it?
You are repugnant.
Duh. That's the problem. Never mind. Sorry I asked. I knew it wouldn't work. Just a fat piece of shit.
Oh, great. 'Cause, misogyny and racism and slut-shaming wasn't enough. This movie also needs to add body shaming. So, basically, now that Olive has doubled down on her reputation of being a slut, soon guys start coming to her asking for her to pretend to sleep with them.
But for people who knew the truth, I was open for business. And whether I liked it or not, I had a lot of customers. Phil Lord gave me $100 from Best Buy so he could tell people we hooked up behind the library. I got $50 from TJ Maxx so that Eric Ling could say we got it on during chemistry.
Because obviously, it's a good thing for the guys to have a reputation for having had sex. But it's a bad thing for a girl to have a reputation for having had sex.
So here's the part where Olive's English teacher calls her in.
I really think you should consider giving me extra credit for going the extra mile. I mean, I'm really attempting to understand this puritanical ostracism that Hawthorne wrote about.
You are one of the few that read the book. If I read one more paper from one of your classmates who talks about how hot she is in the bathtub, her fake British accent, or is she still married to Ashton Kutcher, I'm gonna kill myself.
The teacher apologizes for sending her to the principal's office and says that he hates one of his fellow students. Seriously, teachers don't say shit like that. At least not while you're still their student. That is so unprofessional. I cannot believe this movie. And then we're introduced to Phoebe, the English professor's wife.
Hi, Mrs. Griffith.
Hi, you. How are you?
A's for awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I've never seen that girl before in my life.
That does not surprise me.
I know, but I'm the guidance counselor. I should know all the students, especially the ones who dress like prostitutes.
Yeah, so now Olive is called in to talk to the guidance counselor, and this happens.
I mean, I have a reputation to uphold.
Don't you, though? All right, listen, don't tell anyone I'm doing this. Please. Here you go. Here you go.
I really don't need those.
Oh, you really do. Here you go.
Okay, we get it, movie. We get it. You think that Olive dressing this way is ruining her reputation. We get it. Also, what? Don't tell anyone that the guidance counselor is giving students condoms? This movie was made in 2009, 2010, not 1910. And then now we have Amanda Bynes' character. Remember her? She's that stuck-up Christian girl who's kind of the antagonist. Her boyfriend is, I guess, 20 because he's been held back a couple times. And he ends up being diagnosed with chlamydia. And when his mom asks how he got chlamydia, he says it was the school slut, Olive, when the truth is that he got it from the guidance counselor. You know, the one who's married to the English teacher.
I could have chlamydia. I mean, I could have easily given it to Micah. I mean, who knows? Women oftentimes don't show symptoms, and the whole world knows I've been whoring around.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't, because a real whore can't admit it to herself, much less others. Trust me.
This movie can't have it both ways. The metaphor just falls apart when you, at the same time, you're trying to point out that people were wrong to judge Olive. You're also having characters say things like this, where the movie is judging people, specifically women, for having sex.
You know, with all the mythical play I was getting, I still actually hadn't been asked out on a real date until finally.
Hey, Olive.
Hey, Anshin. What's up?
I was wondering if you were busy tonight.
$200 to the Home Depot. Bam.
I didn't realize this was a... So what did we do on this date?
Whatever $200 gets me.
It's not really how it works.
It's okay.
Stop! I'm not really having sex with people for money. I'm saying I'm having sex with people for money, but I'm not having sex with people for money.
It's okay. Come on.
Stop!
What?
No!
What?
Stop!
What are you doing? I paid you.
Now you didn't.
Hold on. What? This movie handles this scene so wrong. You can revoke consent at any time. Anytime. It doesn't matter if someone's paid you. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. You can revoke consent at any time. This is absolutely disgusting. He just assaulted her. And the movie treats this like the Hail Mary moment where Olive realizes the repercussions of her actions. Instead of, this guy is a piece of shit. This is so fucked up. It doesn't matter if you went on a date with someone. It doesn't matter if they've paid you. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter what anyone said about you. You get to say no at any time. And that is it. And if someone doesn't respect your no, then they are a piece of shit. It has nothing to do with you, your value, and what mixed messages you might be sending. No one is entitled to you. Period. And I do not like the way that this movie just lets Anson off the fucking hook. Nothing happens. He just literally assaulted her. She was saying no, and he was saying, don't worry about it. And I've had that happen to me before, and I am livid that this is in some teen comedy. And it's not treated like the disgusting moment that it is. Seriously, this scene is used as a way for Olive to connect with her crush. It's just another step in her arc of self-discovery. Instead of the fact that she was just assaulted. I hate this. I hate this movie. I hate whoever wrote this movie. I hate the fact that this movie has a baffling 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. I hate the fact that it got a lot of really positive reviews about being like the new teen comedy for its age. This is not okay, and it is perpetuating really dangerous things. Things that encourage men to think that they're entitled to women's bodies, to think that having sex with women is just a way to increase their own social standing, and perpetuating this idea that a woman's virginity is this thing that she needs to hold on to and protect, and that her reputation depends on being seen as pure and decent. And I don't know if any men watch this channel, but I want everyone to hear that unless someone gives enthusiastic consent, it is not okay to make sexual advances on them. Period. The fact that someone is a sex worker or is claiming to be a sex worker does not mean that you are entitled to their body. Sorry, this just... I really hate this mentality and the fact that this movie just like moves on from this moment like everything's okay. This is not okay. If this was a decent movie, this Anson guy should end up in jail, or at least socially ostracized the way that Olive has been socially ostracized just for having sex.
Do you want to talk about it?
What's to say? Everybody thinks I'm a whore. And for the first time, I'm starting to believe it.
There's nothing wrong with being a prostitute. God. She's not upset about being assaulted. She's upset that she thinks she's a prostitute. Why does this movie suck so bad?
Olive, if I promise not to tell anyone, could I kiss you right now?
Okay, movie, great. You had one guy ask for consent. Sorry, too late. You've already done too many shitty things for that to make up for anything.
Now that I knew there were actually decent and good-hearted people out there, the lies had to stop.
After Penn Badgley, I really need to learn how to say his name right. After he takes Olive home and says that he likes her and asks to kiss her, she has learned the error of her ways and decides that she needs to tell the truth. Because just like every young adult story that involves a girl, you need a man in order to really find yourself. Just ask every Sarah Dessen book ever written. So she tries to get people to admit that it was all a lie, but they won't. So her solution is to do a video and put it online, telling everyone the truth about what happened. And the way that she's going to get everyone to watch this video is to, like, storm the pep rally and do her own little random musical number for absolutely no reason, which, again, is supposed to be an homage to John Bluth movies and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but for me, just felt really unnecessary. And like, what have we learned? Legitimately, at the end of this, what have we learned? Like, she apologizes to her friend, the friend who abandoned her because she had sex. There's no scene of the friend apologizing to her. There's no scene of, like, the school recognizing that they treated Olive like crap. It just ends with Penn Badgley, did I say it right that time? Coming to her bedroom window, recreating, sorry, I know I really should watch these movies, 16 Candles, maybe? The whole John Cusack holding up the boombox thing, whatever movie that is. And like, seriously, what did we learn? Nothing. Nothing was accomplished. Olive, I guess, learned that you shouldn't pretend to be a slut. And I guess I can agree with the moral of, like, don't pretend to be something you're not. Be yourself. But it's just so wrapped up in slut shaming that it just feels so gross. Like, literally, I have now watched this movie twice, and I don't see what this movie does for anyone unless you were a teenager in the 80s and wanted an homage to those movies, the John Bluth movies. And also, Emma Stone is hot. But, like, beyond that, I don't know. I know it's, like, such a feminist killjoy thing to do to, like, take something that's just supposed to be a lighthearted comedy and make a long diatribe complaining about it, but movies have real-world consequences, and I really just think that this is a movie that puts a lot of harmful messages out into what is already a culture filled with really harmful messages. Okay, I've ranted long enough. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about Easy A. If you're a fan of the movie, tell me why. Also, let me know if there are any other movies that you'd like to see me rant about. Please take care of yourselves. Until next time, bye.